Chapter 8. Cowboy. Omri gaped at him. He hadn't thought of this. But of course, now that he did, it was obvious. No more he knew the secret could possibly rest until he had a little live person of his own. Patrick, it's not like you think. Just something to play with. Of course not. You've explained it all about it. Now let's just let me but you have to think about it first. No, stop. You can't. And anyway, I don't agree to you using one of mine. Omri didn't know why he was so reluctant. It wasn't that he was mean, he just knew somehow that something awful would happen if he let Patrick have his own way. But it wasn't easy to stop him. Omri grabbed him, but he wrenched free. I've got to, he panted. I've got to. He stretched out his hand toward the pile of soldiers again. They struggled. Patrick seemed to have gone a bit crazy. Suddenly, Omri felt the rim of the tin plate under his shifting feet. He shoved Patrick out of the way, and they both stared downward. The plate had tipped, and the fire slipped off into the carpet. Little Bear, with a yell, had leaped clear and was now waving his arms and shouting horrible things at them. His roast meat had disappeared under Omri's foot, which he instinctively stamped down on the fire to put it out. He felt a squishy feeling under his shoe. Now look, we've spoiled the meat, he shouted at Patrick. All you can do is fight. I wish you never brought you. Patrick looked mulish. It was your fault. You should have let me put something in the cupboard. Omri lifted his shoe. Underneath it was a nasty mess of burned stuff, squashed meat, and a bent erector set. Little Bear let out a wail. You no great spirit, only stupid boy. Fight, spoil a good meal. You feel shame. Maybe we can rescue it. He crouched down and disentangled the meat from the mess, burning his fingers. He tried to brush it clean, but it was no use. It was all mixed up with the smelly stuff on the firelighter and stuck bits of carpet of hair. I'm terribly sorry, Little Bear, he mumbled. No good sorry. Little Bear hungry. Work all day, cook meat. Now what eat? I'll chop you down like tree. And to Omri's horror, he saw Little Bear run where the battle axe was lying, pick it up, and advance towards his legs, swinging it in great circles as it came. Patrick fairly danced with excitement. Isn't he fantastically brave, though? Much more than David and Goliath. Omri felt the whole thing was going too far. He removed his leg from harm's way. Little Bear, calm down, he said. I've said I'm sorry. Little Bear looked at him, blazing-eyed. Then he rushed over to the chair Omri used at his table and began chopping wedges out of the leg of it. Stop! Stop, or I'll put you back in the cupboard. Little Bear stopped abruptly and dropped the axe. He stood with his back to them, his shoulders heaving. I'll get you something to eat, right now, something delicious. Go and paint. I'll make you feel better. I won't be long. Patrick said, hang on, I can smell supper cooking. I'll go get a bit of whatever we're having, and he rushed downstairs without stopping to think. His mother was dishing up nice hot stew. Can I have a little bit of that? Mom, just a little bit, a spoon. It's for a game we're playing. Mother obligingly gave him a big spoonful. Don't let it drip, she said. Does Patrick want to stay for supper? Well, I don't know. I'll ask, said Omri. Were you two fighting up there? I heard thumps. No, not really. It was just that we wanted to do something, and that Omri stepped dead, as if frozen to the ground. He might have been frozen. His face went so cold. Patrick was up there, with the cupboard, and 2 biscuit tinfuls of little plastic figures, alone. Omri ran. He usually won the 8 and spoon race at the school sports. It was just as well, because he's hard enough to carry an egg, a spoon running along a flat field. It's a great deal harder to carry a tablespoon of boiling hot stew steady while you're rushing up a flight of stairs. If most, it was still there, the top of it, of my mere good luck and skill, because he was hardly noticing the spoon at all. All I could think of was what might be, no, what must be happening in the room, and how much more of it would happen if he didn't hurry. He burst through the door and saw exactly what he dreaded. Patrick bent over the cupboard, just turning the key to open it. What? Omri gasped between the panting breaths, but he had no need to go on. Patrick, without turning around, opened the cupboard and reached in. Then he did a turn. He was gazing into his cupboard hands, eyes like huge marbles. He slowly extended his hands toward Omri and whispered, look. Omri, stepping forward, just had enough time to feel intensely glad that at least Patrick had not put a whole handful of figures in, but only changed one. But which? He leaned over, then drew back with a gasp. It was the cowboy and his horse. The horse was in absolute panic. It was scrambling about wildly in the cupboard, the cup of Patrick's hand, snorting and pawing 1 minute and down on its side the next, stirrups and reins flying. It was a beautiful horse, snow white with long mane and tail, and the sight of it acting so frightened gave Omri heart pain. As for the cowboy, He was too busy dodging the horse's flying feet and jumping out of the way when it fell no notice of much about his surroundings. He probably just thought he was caught in an earthquake. Army and Patrick watched, spellbound, as the little man in his plaid shirt, buckskin trousers, and high-heeled leather boots, the big head, scrambled frantically the side of Patrick's right hand and, dodging the space between his index finger and thumb, swung himself clear of the horse. Only looked down, find he was dangling over empty space. His hat came off and fell slowly like a leaf, down, down, down to the floor, so infinitely far below. The cowboy gave a yell, scrambled up with his feet again on the back of Patrick's hand, hanging on for dear life to the ridge beside his thumbnail. Hold your hand still, Army commanded Patrick, who was in excitement was jerking them nervously about. There was a moment of stillness. The horse stood up, trembling all over, prancing about with terror. Beside the hooves were some tiny black things. Army peered closer. It was the pistol. The cowboy had now recovered a little. He scrambled back through the finger gap and said something to the horse that sounded like, "Whoa back. Steady, fellow." And he slid down and grabbed the reins, holding them just below the horse's nose. He patted its face. That seemed to calm him. Then he looked around swiftly, but apparently noticing the enormous faces hanging over him, he reached cautiously down and picked up the pistol from between the horse's hooves. "Whoa there, Stan." Army watched like a person hypnotized. He wanted to cry out to Patrick that it was a real gun, but somehow he couldn't. He could only think of the sound of his voice would throw the horse once more into panic, and the horse or the man would get hurt. Instead, he watched while the cowboy pointed the gun in various directions warily. Then he lowered it. Still holding the reins, he moved back until he could press his hand against Patrick's skin. He let his eyes move upward to the curves of the finger, just level to the top of the head. "What in the doggone heck?" he said. "Sure looks like a great big, what am I talking about? It can't be. Just ain't possible." The more he looked, the more certain he must have become that it was indeed a pair of cupped hands. And finally, after scratching his gingerly head for a moment, he ventured to look up right past the fingers, and then, of course, saw Patrick's face looking at him. There was a petrified moment when he couldn't move. Then he raised his pistol in a flash. "Patrick, shut your eyes!" Bang! It was only a little bang, but it was a real bang, and a puff of real gun-smelling smoke appeared. Patrick shouted with pain. In surprise, he would have dropped the pair of Armory had he thrust his hand underneath to catch them. Patrick's own hand clasped itself to his cheek. "Ow! Ow! He shot me!" Patrick screamed. Armory was not much bothered about Patrick at that moment. He was furious with him and very anxious about the little man on the horse. Quickly put them down on the bed, saying, like the cowboy himself, "Steady, whoa, I won't hurt you. It's okay." "Ow!" Patrick kept yelling. "It hurts! Ow!" "Serves you right. I warned you," said Armory. And he felt sorry and said, "Let's have a look." Gingerly, Patrick took his hand down. A drop of blood had been smeared on his cheek, and by peering very close, Armory could see something very like a bee's stinger embedded in the skin. "Hang on. I see it. I'll squeeze it out." "Ow!" A quick squeeze between his thumbnail and almost invisible speck of black metal, which had just been penetrated the skin, popped out. He shot me!" Patrick got out again in the shocked voice. "I told you. My Indian tried to stick a knife in me," said Armory, not to be outdone. "I think we ought to put you back. Your cowboy, I mean, of course, not my Indian." "Put him back where?" Armory explained how the cover could change him back to plastic again, but Patrick wasn't having any of that. "Oh no, I want him. He's terrific. Look at him now." Patrick feasted his eyes admiringly on the little cowboy who, ignoring the giants, whom clearly thought he must be imagined, was doggedly dragging the horse across Armory's quilt, as if he was wading through the dunes of some infinite pale blue desert. Armory reached for him determinedly, but Patrick stepped into his path. "Don't you touch him. I bought him. I changed him. He's mine." "You bought him for me. You said you didn't want him." "Well, but the cover's mine, and I told you not to use it." "And so what if I did? Anyway, it's done, and he's alive now, and I'm keeping him. I'll bash you right in if you try to take him. Wouldn't you bash me if I took your Indian?" Armory was silent. That reminded him, where was Little Bear? He looked around. Soon spotted him on the other side of the room, busy with his paint. Some beautiful, minute designs showing turtles, herons, beavers, and mainly in red and yellow, that appeared on the side of the teepee Armory had made. As Armory crouched beside him to admire them, Little Bear, without looking at him, said, "You bring food? I very soon die if I not eat." Armory looked around. What had he done with a spoonful of stew? Soon he saw that he put it down on the table without thinking. There it sat, tilted slightly and spilling a few drops of gravy, but still steaming. I hurried to get Little Bear, or rather Action Man's mess tin, paper plate that had gotten all soggy, and carefully filled it with the hot, savory stuff. Here you are. Little Bear stopped work. He laid down his paintbrush and sniffed eagerly. Ah, good. Sat down cross-legged on the paint lens to eat, dipping some of yesterday's stale bread as a spoon. Your wife cook? Ah, no, Little Bear forgot. Omri not got wife. He ate ravenously for a few moments, and then he said, not want? I'm having mine downstairs in a minute, Omri said. Mean Omri not want wife, said Little Bear, who now in a much better mood. I'm not old enough. Little Bear looked at him for a moment. No, I see, boy, he grinned. Big boy, but boy, he went on eating. Little Bear want, he said finally, not looking up. Another wife? Chief need wife. Want one beautiful, good cook. He put his face into the mess and licked it clean. Then he looked up. With Iroquois, mother find wife for son, but Little Bear and mother not here. Omri be mother and find. Omri couldn't quite see himself as Little Bear's mother, but he said, I might try. I think there were some lady Indians and yaps. But what if I get one and make her real and then you don't like her? I like, you get. Tomorrow? Little Bear grinned at him, happily, his face smeared with gravy. Patrick had come up behind him. Let's put them together and see what they do. Omri jumped up quickly. No! Why not? You idiot! Because yours is a gun and mine's got a bow and arrow and one of them is sure to kill the other. Patrick considered this. Well, we could take their weapons away from them. Come on, I'm going to. And he reached towards the bed. Just at that moment, there was a sound of steps on the stairs. They froze. And Omri swiftly moved the dressing-up crate to hide Little Bear, and Patrick sat down on the end of the bed, masking the poor cowboy who was still toiling over humps of the quilt. Just in time, Omri's mother opened the door in a second and said, Patrick, that was your mom on the phone. She wants you to come home right away. And Omri, supper. Omri opened his mouth to protest, but Patrick said once again, oh, okay. With one quick movement, he had scooped up the cowboy and horse and left his hand and thrust them into his pocket. Omri winced. He could easily imagine the horse's legs being injured by such a rough treatment, not to mention the matter of fright. Patrick was already halfway out the door. Omri jumped up and grabbed his arm. Patrick, he whispered, you must be careful. Treat them carefully. They're people. I mean, they're alive. What will you do with them? How will you hide them from your family? I won't. I'll show them to my brother anyway. He'll go out of his mind. Omri began to think of he might go out of his. He shook Patrick's arm. What will you think? How are you going to explain? What will happen? If you say them got them from me, I'll do worse than bash you. I'll ruin everything. They'll take the cupboard away. That got through to Patrick at last. Put his hand slowly back in his pocket. Listen then. You can look after them, but remember they're mine. If you put them back in the cupboard, I'll tell everyone. I'm warning you. I will. I'll bring them to school tomorrow. To school? Cried Omri aghast. I'm not bringing Little Bear to school. You can do what you like about Little Bear. He's yours. That cowboy's mine, and I want him at school tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll tell. Omri let go of his arm for a moment, and they looked at each other as if they'd been strangers. But they weren't strangers. They were friends. It counts for a lot in this life. Omri gave in. All right, he said, I'll bring them. Now give them to me gently. And Patrick brought the man on the horse out of his pocket and tipped them very carefully into Omri's waiting hand.